guided and attuning to all of you in this now moment as the gates have opened and energies are bombarding the planet. We encourage all of you to remain as grounded as possible and attuned to the frequencies of nature, as this will support you in this process and also in alignment with the vibration of water. And so, whenever it is that you can be in water or near water or bathing in water, this will help in the integration and the flooding of the codes that are bombarding the planet at this time from many other dimensional realities coming all the way from the galactic core. Our Wednesday call, where people from all over the world get to come online and ask the Angel Raphael whatever question they want that benefits the collective. And so I will be channeling the Archangel Raphael today and answering all of your questions. If you're watching this on YouTube, we would be so grateful if you would subscribe. That helps us to bring all this loving energy to you guys every week. All right, so Casey is the host. He's going to ask questions. We're going to open it up to all of you. And I'm really excited to be here with everybody. I have a couple announcements. One, yesterday I had an interview with Pam Gregory, who you guys know I love so much. I know it's strange. She almost feels like a sister to me. She's just like, oh, wonderful. And we had a great time together, and Raphael came in. So if you don't follow Pam Gregory, she's an incredible astrologer, so knowledgeable. I'm sure most of you, if not all of you, already know her. But if you don't, please follow her on YouTube, and you can watch the interview that we did together. And we had another interview together a couple months ago, and that's there as well. And then in addition to that, I don't know how many people know about Heart Coherence with Kyle and Leah. They are this duo, this sweet, sweet team of these beautiful beings. And I had an interview with them as well, and that is being posted right now. So it's interesting that all of this energy is coming out right as the line gate open. So the line gate opened officially yesterday, and it is open energetically between now and August 12th. And then it peaks on August 8th on the 8-8 infinity energy. And we will all be gathering in sacred union, in community for a transmission and a powerful activation on 8-8 at 11:11 a.m. And today we had an earthquake in Russia that was at also at 8-8 as the line gate opened. And fortunately, there were no deaths, thank God. And the tsunami warnings settled down, so that's really good news. But we're all feeling the energies shifting and coming in strong. So if you want to join us for that line gate activation, which will be very potent and powerful, it's open to everybody and it's donation based, and we will see you there. Make sure to register, because we had 3,000 people at the last event, and then it gets capped out because we can only take so many people. Okay, with that, I'm going to just start to channel. So if you're listening to this for the first time, I'm going to close my eyes. I'm going to make some toning sounds. I'm going to say hello, just like that. And wherever you are in the world, please say hello back. And that unifies our energy. And then Raphael will come in and we'll do our thing. All right, sounds like a plan. Okay. Hmm. Everyone just take a nice deep breath, breathing in and letting go, coming into the presence of the here and now. And I'm just opening my heart and attuning to all of you and asking that I may be a pure and clear vessel of divine light and love and of service to all of you at this time to support humanity on its process toward unity and love. Ow, 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 ow. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, hello, hello. Ah.
Hello.
We are very delighted and attuning to all of you in this now moment as the gates have opened and energies are bombarding the planet. We encourage all of you to remain as grounded as possible and attuned to the frequencies of nature, as this will support you in this process and also in alignment with the vibration of water. And so, whenever it is that you can be in water or near water or bathing in water, this will help in the integration and the flooding of the codes that are bombarding the planet at this time from many other dimensional realities coming all the way from the galactic core. And so, with that, what is it you are wanting to talk about?
Hi, Raphael. As you mentioned, there is all of this light bombarding the planet. And so many people have all of these intuitive senses about possibilities that could occur, especially with shifts around the Earth. There are lots of people sensing that there could be an earthquake or an economic collapse or all kinds of things in the month of July that changed a lot of people's behavior. And now that something has unfolded, obviously there was something that they were tuning into, but luckily it was something that didn't cause harm to many. And so my question to you is about predictions. And what level of responsibility does the spiritual community or people who have a profound sense of possibilities have when sharing these kinds of messages with others? And how can, when these messages are shared, or if they are shared, how can they be shared in a way that leads to collective consciousness forming to create the timeline that is for the highest of all?
You have all gone through a process at different levels and periods of your lifetimes in a deep wanting to know what is ahead or what is going to happen. For this creates a sense of security or a sense of safety and predictability in which one feels as if they are in control. And yet, when it comes to larger events or earthly events, there is no controlling it other than controlling your own energetic field, your own vibration, your own thoughts, and your own vision. And it is of importance that those who have platforms or authority or the capacity of great influence upon others regarding the potentiality for events to be very careful in what it is that they are saying and sharing. Because as these gateways during the Lion Gate and the gateways that will continue to open and widen as you pass through the equinoxes and the solstices, etc., and you are tuning to these higher vibrations, your ability to quicken in your potential of creation is growing. And so you'll begin noticing that if you have a thought or you'll put your energy or attention or you have toward something, that it rapidly comes into focus and into your experience and you can bring it into reality. This is very much something coming online for many of you in a much faster rate than ever before. And so when large numbers of you are searching and seeking for things on what you call like this YouTube to find out what is the next thing or the prediction of what is going to happen or sensational headlines that get you to look at something wondering what is next, it creates an entire wave of energy that begins to bind together within the field. And that bound energy then, of course, magnetizes and attracts the attention in a collective way and begins to mirror in your reality. And so it is of great importance to have responsibility in what is sharing. And yes, there are potentials that are popping up like spheres of energy of things that could take place or unfold within the collective that affect some and not others, and some all of you. But it is that many catastrophic and cataclysmic activity and events that perhaps were foreseen on the horizon to occur through necessity to shake the collective out of their slumber in order to come into an awakened state have been averted, have been dismantled, and are no longer a part of the timeline in which those listening to this are attuned to. And yet, simultaneously, others may be attuned to other timelines. But there is no escaping or running away from the idea that perhaps you heard that something would happen. And so if you move away from it, you will somehow be saved from it. Or if that you change your bank account, you will be preserved from the horrors. If there is an internal knowing of discernment that is an aching, a rising inside of you, that is coming from your own internal compass, that is guiding you in a direction, perhaps not to get on a plane or to get into a car, or perhaps a need to move somewhere, or a need to move or shift your money in a different direction. And it is an internal clock, and it is not necessarily influenced by the bombardment of fear tactics of information coming from outside of self. Then of course listen to that inner compass, but to take a direct influence from outside sources, whether that be anyone, including me, and use that information, if you're not clear of its attunement to your own self, in order to make large life decisions, is creating at times a diversion from the places and the energies in which are needed for you at any given time. And so when you are trusting and falling into the arms of what perhaps you might call the universe, or the guided energy that is influencing you, in which you are in harmony with, you will always find yourself exactly wherever it is that you're supposed to be at any given moment, at any given time, because it is an alignment with the evolution of your soul. And so there's no outrunning it or escaping from it, because whatever it is supposed to be, it will appear wherever it is that you are. And so rather than looking for and seeking outside of self predictions of what will happen and what to do and how to follow it, it is extraordinarily important at this time to utilize inner discernment and to attune to wherever it is that you are in this now moment, regardless of what may be occurring energetically around the planet, and ask in this now moment, and you can do this now, wherever it is that you are, and whatever it is that you are experiencing right here in this moment, are you safe? Do you have everything that you need? Is all well? And you might say yes, and yes, and yes, but perhaps maybe not. Perhaps you're hungry, or perhaps someone just passed away, or perhaps you're worried about something. But if you can continue to come back into the presence, even in the midst of chaos or trauma or difficult times, almost always you can find some type of inner peace and knowing that all is well. And the more you can continue to expand on that presence and on that moment through the vibration of gratitude, you widen, as we speak, the aperture and the vision and the creation of whatever it is you're wanting to bring into form, and your reality begins to unfold in a series of blessings in which you arrive and attune to the frequency of synchronicity and flow, moving into the flow state. And so when you are asking about predictions or about altering decisions based on outside influences, we encourage you to use your own discernment. However, and we recognize this as a long-winded answer, that you can use the map of astrological events. You can use the map of your own destiny as a guide, as a support system perhaps in where you might want to place your energy or attention or your focus at any given moment. Maybe you need more attention on your health at a particular time, or toward a relationship, or you may want to lay low for a little bit in certain situations, and you can use the guidance of the constellations as an example for that. But when someone outside of you is saying this or that will happen, and they are sure that it is going to happen, or they speak of it in an absolute or in a great warning, we encourage you to disengage from that and to recognize that you are and always have been the master creator of your experience, and especially collectively, and choose to hold the vision of whatever it is you are wanting to experience.
Thank you, Raphael. And so when we do find ourselves exposed to something that then sits in our nervous system and generates fear, how do we differentiate between that being our own internal guidance or us allowing some video that we saw to influence us or our behavior? And maybe there is a prayer that we can say. I really love what you said about, am I safe here now? But maybe there might be a prayer that we can say in order to surrender our trust and to deepen our trust, to be able to listen to our own discernment and our own communication with the divine or Mother Gaia or whatever it may be. So how do we deepen that trust and discernment?
Begin to attune to the I am that I am presence, the aspect of you in which you are no longer in the personality ego matrix, the aspect of you that is tethered and attuned fully and completely to the divine source of love of all that is. Inviting that energetic body, you might perceive it as a light body, the aspect of you that has no agenda and no idea of what should or should not be. Inviting that energy in, and then taking with your own hands whatever your fear may be, that you are not safe, or that something terrible will happen, or that you need to be afraid of something, and begin to place all of that. Or perhaps you need to make a decision, or you cannot see clearly as to, well, what pathway or how to move forward, and simply begin to bring it all into the sphere of energy. As you begin to do that, it starts to form its own vibration and its own sense of self that has almost become separate in a way from you, as and you are not identified with it, and you can hold it outside of self. As you're holding it, you can attune to it and say, all of this I am not clear upon at this time. I do not know, but I fully and absolutely trust in the divine, in my I am that I am presence. And I hand this over with complete surrender and trust, and knowing that all is well to you, to show to me, to mirror back to me the pathway in which I should take, to allow me to see with clarity and discernment how to attune to the frequency of love for the unfoldment of my highest evolution. And so it is. And you simply hand that over, and then you let go, not thinking about it, not dwelling about it, just releasing it. And knowing that quickly you will receive messages, will begin to flood in, feelings, sensations, phone calls, connections, information that will bring clarity as to your next step, or if you should move from something, or change your money as you are speaking, or whatever it may be. The universe will always support you in a willingness to accept its support, and a willingness to trust in that higher frequency of who it is that you are.
Thank you, Raphael. And as people, I know there might be a lot of people listening to this that have these senses, that sense these possibilities and these timelines. And I'm curious on, where do you believe the line is on the necessary, like how necessary it is to warn people of possibilities versus allowing things to unfold, right? Because, for example, let's say if someone did have the opportunity to warn someone of something and they were able to change their course of action, that might be beneficial. Where is that where is that line of discernment for people who have an intuitive sense that would like to share what they have to share?
Oh, oh, oh. Well, it is that if the information can be useful, if the information is really clear, and sometimes it is between a family member or a mother and a child in which there is this deep knowing and you wanting to share something. But when you're working on the collective level and you are dispelling information to large masses of people, you're attaching a potential outcome that is not necessarily the outcome into the field. And then that field begins to create momentum, and that momentum opens up pathways of creation. And so it is different if it is something, an intuitive knowing or feeling for self or a loved one or a close friend about a personal matter or a feeling towards something in which you are sharing it with them, and you know, recognize it is not coming from your own internal anxiety or fear, but it perhaps is a premonition in which you have been gifted an idea or knowing about something that is supportive for them. And that is a bit different than projecting out into the collective an idea about something that many then begin to attach to because it is a self perpetuating prophecy.
And so when there is some sort of warning or something to come up, is there something that we can share or a prayer that we can offer people or a visualization or something that might help shift that timeline instead of the potential catastrophic prediction that we might be making?
Ah, well, of course. It is when you gather in numbers with a vision for the collective that you begin to create and birth new timelines and realities. And so all of you choosing to gather, whether it be during a gateway or an opening or an equinox or a full moon or a time when the energy is more potentized, well, flooding it with all of your intention to move into a unified field and into a flow of synchronicity and of love and of healing and of shifting, a diversion from something that could be quite catastrophic shifts. For example, not too long ago, there was a great potential for what you would call a great large war, and things could have escalated very quickly out of control between nations. Although, of course, there is devastating war occurring at this time in pockets and places that is heart wrenching. But there was the potential for a much wider war that would have involved many more nations and created enormous chaos. But through the prayer of so many and so much energy in the vision of that whole vibration dismantling itself, it never got the seed potential to spiral out of control. And it is similar to this current earthquake that was just occurring as we were sharing before or yesterday with others. That as you start to really elevate your frequencies and attuned to the elements and attuned to nature in new ways and align with these vibrations, you come into relationship with them so that the need for whatever needs to take place or unfold within the great energy field of Gaia occurs, except for it is done in a way which is less destructive or creating such chaos on the earth for the humans and all living energies simultaneously. And so all of this is shifting and changing at a rapid pace as you are starting to understand how truly powerful you are and the capacity that you have in the creation process in relationship not only to your own experience and to the collective experience, but even in your relationship to the elements themselves. And this will continue to accelerate in the coming years to a point that there will be pockets of energies and beings that will be operating at the same vibrational frequencies of what you might be perceiving as your star sisters and brothers, in which they are in attunement and in heart coherence in a harmonic field with all elements and all energetic systems around them, guiding the energy in specific directions. And so as you come back online, as your DNA comes back online, as you receive the activations and the energies that come in during these widened portaled openings, such as the line gate that you are in now, or the equinoxes, or the solstices, and these portals of energies where you are bombarded with this plasmic light, you begin to awaken parts of self that are like turning on navigational systems that guide and support you in directions to move quite rapidly toward directions that bring more unity, more grace, more beauty, more ease across the globe. And yet you tend to place your attention as a collective on the pockets that are in distress. And that is okay, but not to amplify the pockets of distress, but to go in there on an energetic level and to bring a frequency that so that the need for those energies that are transmuting for the collective can do it with the least amount of suffering.
Thank you, Raphael. And my last question in relationship to this topic is, with trust and discernment guiding us forward, there's also a huge aspect of a willingness to accept hard possibilities, right? Harsh consequences in our willingness to not be overcome by fear or or a prediction or something like that, to lose track of our own inner compass, right? We have to have also a willingness to surrender to the consequences of whatever the divine deems it to be. How do we step more into that, or am I totally off base in our need to accept possibilities?
It is very supportive to be able to zoom out because you have spiraled so far into density and clothed so much in matter that there is sometimes a forgetting that you are the architect and the designer of your experience. And when you come into full recognition of that, then that opens up space in an entirely new way for quantum healing, for creation, for transformation, for transmutation, to move into unity. And this is something in which has always been outsourced in your thinking as a collective to date, that it is someone outside of you. It is a leader. It is the environment. It is the storm. It is the water. It is the war. It is whatever it may be that is creating the chaos. But it is all a part of you. It is different pockets. You are one large organism. And some of you may be in a piece or a part of the body where you are experiencing more harmony than another part that is going through a great change of transformation. But you are all woven and interconnected together, and you cannot separate the pain that may be occurring in certain pockets around the globe to the places in which others are in complete unity and bliss and prosperity. It is still woven together. So whenever there is this type of despair, it is felt in every pocket, but it is in the pockets of those that are holding a frequency where they are in a unified field and experiencing senses and moments of bliss and gratitude and great abundance. It carries with them an enormous responsibility to maintain that vibrational frequency to support the quickening in the transmutation and transformation of these denser energies who have such bravery in order to transmute it for the collective. And so it is all interconnected. and it cannot be separated. And so you are one collective energy moving together, and yet you have identified or perceived yourself somehow as separate. And in the remembering that every single thing and everyone that you see that comes into your reality or your experience is a mirrored reflection of yourself, you begin to open your heart to an entirely new state of compassion. And you begin to stop blaming and pointing fingers and deciding that this is right and this is wrong and this is good and this is bad, and shaming it, and begin to find a place in which you can see that energy that is requiring and seeking compassion and healing within itself, that is also reflected within you, and bring that up for the possibility for that to come back into harmonization and coherence, is the greatest pathway forward toward unity and love.
Thank you, Raphael. And just one last quick thing. Is it possible to make a wrong choice?
Hey everybody! So it is my very favorite time of the year. It's the Lion Gate, and I love the Lion Gate. I'm very attuned to the white lion frequency. Sometimes I think I kind of look like a white lion, and I've had very powerful connections with them. And the Lyrans and the Syrians are aligned with us during the Lion Gate. And this year, the Lion Gate, not only is it opening on July 28th and it runs through August 12th, but on August 9th, the day after the Lion Gate at its height, which is the 8-8 portal, is a full moon. So it's going to be incredibly amplified and powerful. And not only are we going to pass through the gateway, but we are going to cross a bridge. And we're going to cross the bridge together. But we can't build bridges alone. We build them together. And so I can't build a bridge by myself to 5D, nor can perhaps you. But collectively, in community and in love and in unity, we can. So I know there's a lot going on the planet right now, but I know one thing we can do. We can gather in love and in peace during the Lion Gate. So I'm opening it up to everyone. It's donation based. Everyone is welcome. Our last activation, we had over 3,000 people holding love and light. So if you want to join us, we would love to have you. It starts at 11:11 a.m. New York time on August 8th. So we'll see you there. Mwah.
Thank you, Raphael. And just one last quick thing. Is it possible to make a wrong choice when faced with these kinds of questions?
There is never a wrong choice, because you are in a school and you are learning and you are evolving and you are eternal. And so there are pathways that may feel more difficult, might be a bit harder in the evolution of your journey and in your growth. But it's sometimes the hardest teacher or the most difficult class are the hardest moments that are perceived as, let's say, the dark night of the soul, that create the strongest rebirth, the greatest awakening, the biggest opening. And so even that which might be perceived as negative can be the most powerful impetus and creation of transformation on a soul level. And so the judgment around it, as it is released in the recognition that it has been designed for you and by you, allows you to come more into balance and perhaps even peace in whatever it is you are experiencing at any given time, knowing it is for your highest potential and evolution.
And again, I am just so curious on how do we make sure that if we find ourselves in the dark night of the soul or one of these more difficult timelines, that we set ourselves up to allow it to be for our greatest rebirth or for our highest good or our greatest evolution,
Oh,
and allowing to get stuck in the loop.
to release the victimhood of it. It is when you are a victim to it that it makes it even more difficult. But as you become responsible, in a sense, energetically for it, and ask, how may I grow from this? What do I need to change in order to attune to a higher frequency? what is needed to be transformed in this moment? How can I greet this with compassion for myself and all involved? That you come into an alignment in a way that is deeply supportive and less depressive in your unfolding of that experience.
Thank you so much, Raphael. All right, so we're going to open it up to everybody. Just a reminder, everybody gets one question. Please keep it concise and universal. No personal questions. We want this to apply to everyone. And yeah, all right. Thank you. Kim, go ahead. Oh, I have to. That's my fault. Don't worry. Go ahead now. There you go.
Okay, thank you. Hello,
Hello. Oh, which Kim?
Oh, Kim Connors. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
sorry.
thank you, Casey. Hello, Raphael.
Hello.
Can you please tell us why, for some people, they get very angry or unreasonably emotional when perhaps like a smell, for example, cigarette smoke, when there isn't anybody around smoking, and they get very angry or emotional. Is there possibly a message there for this person? And if so, why would it be anger or uncontrollable? Because if it was a message from spirit, I would expect it to be a pleasant one. Does that make sense?
Oh, you are talking about there is no one smoking and someone is smelling the scent of a cigarette and then they're becoming very angry.
Yes.
Yes, that's correct.
You are very funny. Ow, ow, ow.
Also, perhaps like with perfume, as
Mm.
another example.
Well, of course, it is that it is attached to a story that is triggering an emotional response in relationship to whatever that story is in their mind in which the scent was attuned to. And so, whatever that scent is that is coming in is bringing up a projection of a story that is unconscious, that is related to something seated within the body, that at times can be a trauma or an agitation that is seeking healing. And if it is coming from spirit, although you would think that it would provoke a happier feeling, it may be coming to nudge or to provoke a feeling that is in relationship to something painful or traumatic in order for it to come to the surface so that healing can take place. And so it is like poking something in order for it to surface so that it can come out of the dark corners and the light can be shown upon it, and the anger or the energy that is repressed can come up to the surface in order for there to be healing. However, it may not be in this situation actually creating healing. It is just provoking a negative, what appears to be a negative emotion. But if that emotion can move through a state of transformation where it can allow the light to be shed upon the feeling that is arising, or pictures that might be coming forward in relationship to an event or an experience where light needs to be shed upon it, and the smell or the scent itself is the key that is triggering that emotion for it to come into coherence and into to be alchemized and to come into healing.
Thank you. Thank you, Raphael. Thank you, Kim. I'm gonna go with Linda. Linda Joyflower. Go ahead.
Hello, hello. Um, my question is in particular to psilocybin mushrooms, and the question is there a place for ingesting plant medicines to assist in our spiritual evolution and a deeper connection to our higher self and source?
If the mushroom is calling to you and inviting you to come into relationship with it, yes, the consumption of it can open pathways and attunement to the interconnectedness of all things. And its life force energy and yours become married for a period of time to open up spaciousness for new perception, to move past the ring past knot into cores and spaces in which occurs in activations in which we do in our transmissions. And so, if you feel an attunement or a calling from the plant during dream state or journaling, or a feeling arises in you, and you come into gratitude and into sacred ceremony, into alignment with it, in order to open up spaciousness, to have a greater understanding, to move into parallel experiences and realities, and to have an attunement to the oneness and interconnectedness of all things, which is very deeply supportive in releasing fears because there is a recognition of your internal being, then we support this process. If it is simply done for a joyride and there is no sacredness around it, and the intent is not clear, and it is done in a synthetic way, we encourage you to rethink that.
Thank you, Raphael. All right, we're gonna go with Ghislaine. Ghislaine, go ahead. Can you unmute yourself? This one.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hello. Hello.
Hello, hello.
Yes. My concern is about the cruelty humans inflict upon so many animals. More and more of us are aware of the situation, stand up, speak up on behalf of the animals, and take responsibility for them and their well-being. But it still develops very slowly. So, what can we do energetically and practically without focusing on the cruelty to bring a positive change and a successful outcome? Thank you.
Well, they are coming in very strong. Many of the animals are present and they are attuning to all of you in a new way. For any of you who feel an alignment with the animals, whether that be domestic ones in which are living in your homes, or it is the birds chirping in the trees, or the dolphins and the whales, or the tigers and the lions, they are coming in stronger and stronger. And you can begin to telepathically connect and to communicate more and more and more with them. Yes, there are some that are experiencing cruelty, but most are not. And it is that, yes, there are many that have become extinct, but we want you to all know that they are not actually extinct. They have simply transformed into a higher dimension and are awaiting the arrival of all of you in the fifth dimension, in which they are already there. And so many of the animals in the animal kingdom that are no longer roaming your planet due to the great changes in your ecosystem and the deterioration of it and the loss of space for them and the inability for them to have what they are needing for survival needs, have transcended into a higher dimension and are operating on a higher energetic field. And it is that at this time we are tuning right now to the great white lion as the apex of the leader of the animal kingdom itself, as its energy is very present in this now moment, as it as opening up spaciousness on each side of the gateway as the energies are flooding in. And it is curious that you are asking about this vibration and concern of cruelty, but it is to send out signals through your pineal gland and your energetic field into the hearts of others, to support them in coming back into relationship and communication with the animals, so that in that their compassion rises to the surface and their recognition there is always a soul agreement when there is some type of distress between an animal and a human. And it is often that the animal will, yes, suffer at times, but will transcend without pain because it carries such unconditional love, such lack of judgment, and such enormous forgiveness for the slaying of itself in the need or in the greed or despair of the human race that at times is disconnected from its own deep remembering. And so we want you to know that more than ever, your ability at this time to commune with all animals and all beings within the sea and within the trees is accessible. And they too, like you, are moving rapidly through an ascension process. And many of them are ahead of you, meaning that they have gone through these gates and crossed these bridges into higher octaves and frequencies, awaiting the welcoming of your vibrations into the next dimension. And as you attune to the white lion during the lion gate, he will begin to, in his majesty, to attune to the goddess lioness, and her wings will fly, and you will begin to move rapidly through and into the earth itself, feeling the frequencies of all of the elemental vibrations and the energies carrying you in to the core of the earth and the origin and the spaces where the animals and the dolphins and the whales and the turtles and the giraffes and the zebras and the squirrels and the raccoons and the birds live and dwell in harmony with one another and in relationship as beings of light to all of you, beginning to attune to these vibrations and opening these spaces is deeply supportive in creating a harmonic field and beginning to alchemize the relationship between the human and the animal to come back into balance in the recognition that you are not the masters of the animals, nor are you in a hierarchy position, nor greater than them, but recognizing them as your own brothers and sisters on an equal level of understanding and compassion and attunement to their needs. And in doing so, this ripples out through the Mother Source grid into all kingdoms, all spaces, and all places in the recognition of their purity, for they are some of your greatest teachers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Kasha. Kasha Hart, you're still muted. I see you moving your finger. There you
Okay,
go.
can you hear me? Hello, hello.
Hello.
Um, in a dream last night, I saw two unks. I believe I was in Egypt in the dream, and one unk was old and represented the past, and one was shimmering and more modern, futuristic looking, representing the future. Do you believe that these two unks represent where we are now, moving into our gifts from the past and connecting with beyond the physical?
Oh. Well, you are attuning to a lifetime in ancient Egypt and the frequencies of aligning with the gifts and the experiences as walking as a high priestess during that time, and attuning to those vibrations that are opening pathways and doorways as you are passing through a gate into a higher octave of your own spiritual awakening, in which these messages are coming to you in dream time. But all of you are experiencing this on many different levels as you are integrating and receiving through the codes that are coming in, teachings and knowledge and wisdom and gifts and energy from the past that have been deaded within, while simultaneously opening up gates on either side that are allowing codes of energy to descend from the galactic core, spiraling in and opening the heart and energy energies ascending from within the crystal core, all meeting and exploding within the center of your own heart being and moving through the entire body and awakening you on a collective level. And so this particular dream that you are having is something in relationship to you at this time, and the remembrance of this very potent and powerful lifetime in which the information attuned to that lifetime and the gifts were coming back online for you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Shari.
Hello, thank you.
Hello.
Do elementals and inner earth beings live lifetimes like a human? Like yeah.
No. They are not needing to recycle as quickly as all of you. They can attune to a living energetically in the inner earth for eternity, in a sense, if they are wanting, in an immortal way. For that is why they have moved often into such an enlightened state, because there is not a need to continue recycling and forgetting over and over and over and over again. And so they're a bit ahead of you in a sense, on an energetic level, in that way. Because their pathway is different. We will be attuning to them and going deep into the inner core of the earth and traveling into places in which you have never traveled before, and attuning to their frequencies as the doorways are opening and they are rising across your planet. And many of you are beginning to attune and to have experiences with the elementals in many different forms, and the actual elements themselves, as you are coming more into communion with one another. But they do not cycle in this same way of having an experience and then transcending, leaving their form, moving into and merging with source, and then returning with a forgetting of what they have experienced to date. They retain the living library of, a sense, the history that is encoded within them, and their frequency is much lighter, and so their body does not need to be dropped as often because it is not as dense. It is much more etheric, and so they are operating in a different system, should we say, than you and the human are experiencing, with more density in the form, which eventually drops into aging and dis-ease and is released as the soul is freed into the merging of its knowingness with a pinpoint or calling to return through a state of forgetting again. And so that is not their journey. However, it is that you can also move from human form to elemental form. But from the time perspective, the elemental form and experience is much longer if you were to perceive it from the place of linear time. However, they are not operating in linear time in the way in which you perceive things. It is much more all occurring at once.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, Kathy Higgins, go ahead. You're still muted. There
Hello,
you go.
hello, Raphael. Hello.
Hello.
Um, in lieu of the solar flares, the DNA upgrades, the light codes, and everything hitting the earth and consequently affecting our bodies, does talking to yourselves to advocate that they replace themselves to the original blueprint and rid ourselves of all the past traumas we have? Is that still?
You are asking if talking about your past trauma is still beneficial in the acceleration of your healing process?
No, I don't think that's what she was asking, but
What is
that's an
it?
interesting question as well. Kathy, are you interested in that, the answer to that?
What is the question?
The question is, does talking to yourselves with
Your
all the light
cells.
and the
Yes,
DNA,
yes, yes. Talking to your cells, is it beneficial?
even with all the DNA and the light codes and the DNA upgrades and everything that is hitting our bodies and changing things, it still is beneficial and productive to ask that your cells get reproduced in the original blueprint.
Yes, of course. Whenever you can put an input through sound toward your cells, toward in a direction with an intent of the direction in where you are wanting it to be, you are increasing its potentiality to move into that direction. Sound is extraordinarily powerful. When you take sound, which is the voice, and you alignment with intent, and you attune it to a specific frequency, and then you direct that frequency toward the cells, it has an extraordinarily potent and powerful influence on the cell in its ability to regenerate, to heal, to accelerate its frequency, and so on. And so the light codes, the transmissions, the activation, the frequencies that you're seeing are priming, are awakening, are stirring these cells, moving them into resonance. And then when you add on top of that a command or a demand through the voice, aligned with the frequency of love, to move it in a specific direction into higher frequencies, it just adds more potency to that which you are already receiving.
Fabulous. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. Anna.
Hello, thank you.
Hello.
Hello. This is my first time, so I'm a bit nervous.
Ah, no
So,
need to be nervous.
thank you. Okay, I would like to know how can we be grounded and balanced by Mother Earth when we cannot go out to nature? We can do it through our imagination, and how?
We are very excited to open up a space on an energetic level where we will be taking you into the crystal core. And the crystal core will ground you immediately, instantaneously, wherever it is that you are, even if you are in a concrete city, in a high-rise building. Because we will be entering energetically into one of the most sacred vortexes at Mount Shasta. We will be spiraling into the crystalline city of Telos, and doorways will be opening up into spaces, into the kingdom of the elementals, and down where the goddesses live and dwell in the actual core itself, in which you will be anchored in that vibration and receive these blessings and codes. And so with that, we would encourage you to align with that light code, the violet flame frequency, because it will anchor you and ground you and bring you into places and realms on an etheric level that are extremely potent and powerful, that you can visit regularly wherever you are in any space. It will attune you to the vibration of nature, but at the most deep and profound level that ever has and ever shall be.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Raphael. Joanna.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello.
Hello, Raphael. So my question is the most efficient way of manifesting, obviously for the highest good of all. Is there like a simple exercise or a simple way to manifest for the highest good of all?
Well, you can begin with the very basics of I am that I am that I am, I am that I am.
Okay.
And whatever it is that you are wanting to attune to be the magnet of, you can place within the Vesica Pisces, and you can attune to a very concise sentence or a command in a sense with the universal frequencies of I am accepting the universe's gifts of unlimited wealth, perhaps maybe as an example. And so it is. And then open up the spaciousness for the energy to fill in with complete and absolute trusting that it is so, and begin to attune to that. Abundance of manifestation occurs when you energetically already feel safe that it is there. When you already feel safe in the vibration of abundance, that you have everything and are in complete ease and contentment to that, without a seeking that comes from a place that you don't have it, which is lack, is where you have difficulty and blockages occur in the creation or manifestation process. And so once you can place yourself in a state of feeling safe, that everything is well and that everything that you need is already there, and that you are abundant and you are in deep gratitude for that abundance, in a knowing that it is so, then it instantaneously, without a need of wanting or creating it, just simply is. And yet it is often when one is wanting to manifest or create, they are doing it from a state of lack and a place of want, which is regenerating that frequency and repeating it. And so coming into a state, and that is why gratitude is often the preliminary energy that is required for creation and manifestation, because once you move into gratitude from something that is already in abundance, wherever it is that you are, you start to vibrate in the state of safetiness and the state that all is well and that you are abundant, which then just magnetizes and creates more abundance. So in order to come into a state of creation and manifestation, you must already be in a state of deep gratitude, of creation, and a feeling of safety in that in which you already are experiencing, in order to magnetize more of it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Is that all for now?
Yes.
We are very delighted and happy to have been here with all of you in this now moment, inviting you all to come into the presence of this space, knowing that you are safe, that you are loved, that everything is here for you, that you can trust and surrender and let go, in knowing that all is well. Coming into this moment in deep gratitude, receiving many blessings and opening your heart as the gateways are open and the plasmic codes are coming in from the galactic core, the great central sun, and bubbling up from deep within the crystal core into your heart and exploding and radiating light. With that, we send to you many blessings, much light, much love, and good day. Okay. Well, thank you everybody for joining today's Wednesday call. Thank you for those of you also listening on YouTube. If you'd like to come on and raise your hand and ask a question, you can join our free membership. I'll see everybody in the Line Gate on 8/8 at 11:11 a.m. Don't forget to register. Have a beautiful, beautiful week. I'll see you next Wednesday. And if you want to go deep into the crystal core with the goddesses through Mount Shasta and the star beings and the violet flame, join us, and I'll see you there for that on August 18th. All right. Love, 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 everybody.